The atmosphere was so formal, it was almost religious. This was the most important single contract in the company's history, and yours truly had landed it. Over 6 months of research, tons of paperwork, weeks and weeks of hard-boiled negotiations, and we were finally going to close this thing. It was all over but to celebrate.
There's a problem.
It got so quiet, you could hear Twill's eyebrows raising. But I maintained my cool.
Excuse me?
People looked at the percentages and they still feel very uncomfortable about these numbers.
Mr. Hanley, your people do understand that we don't do this as a hobby.
I had the feeling that this was Hanley's brilliant spur-of-the-moment idea. His people probably felt fine about the contract. It didn't matter. Hanley had the wrong move at the wrong meeting, and he definitely had the wrong brother. He must have confused me with the brother they brought in.
Mr. Twill, it seems...
Mr. Hanley, I'm quite sure Mr. Twill can handle these negotiations, but it happens to be my job. Now, this is a $40 million project. Based on our agreed-upon stipulations, our compensations are more than fair.
Are you saying you're not willing to look at these papers again?
I'm saying it's not necessary. Our best deal is already on the table.
Look, this is a mighty big project. I'm merely suggesting we take one more look at it.
He was floundering. I knew I had his butt, so I closed with the bird story.
Please, not the bird story.
Not the bird story. I like the bird story. What's the bird story?
Mr. Hanley, allow me to tell you a little story. You see, there once was this wise and gentle king. So wise was he that his reputation extended beyond the boundaries of his domain. One day, a visitor from another kingdom came to the good king's court to test the king's wisdom, to see how smart he was, perhaps even to discredit him. The visitor held a small bird in his hands. The bird was so small that he could cup his two hands together and completely cover it. He told the king about this bird, and he asked the king one question. Is the bird dead or alive? Of course, this was a trick. If the king said the bird was dead, the visitor would open his hands and the bird would fly away. But if the king said the bird was alive, the visitor would gently squeeze his hands together before he opened them, thereby suffocating the bird and killing it. Is the bird dead or alive? The visitor asked. The king looked at him straight in the eye and answered very softly. The bird, he said, is in your hands. Mr. Hanley, this bird, this $40 million bird, is in your hands. You tell me. Is it dead or alive? It was beautiful, simply beautiful.
Congratulations.